Hey, today I'm gonna do a full breakdown between these 4 different walking pads here that I got on Amazon. So I got the Freepi, the Urevo, Sperax, and the Yemsd, and I'm just gonna go through everything, the similarities, differences, and which ones I prefer the most. So I've been walking about 10 to 20,000 steps for the past year or so, and I'll even show you my step count right now. So I'm a little bit over 10,700 and aiming for between 12 and 14,000 right now. And so these have been a super huge help for me. And I also work from home, so I have my standing desk here. So these are really nice to have and set up for that. So I'm gonna go through each one, all the remotes, all the different functions of them. So we're gonna start out with the Freepi. And first off, one thing I'm gonna talk about is the different end widths. So as you can see, the Urevo has a wider width than the Freepi. And then the same thing with the Yemsd. It's a little bit wider than the Sperax. And so I'd say the Urevo and the Yemsd are a little bit wider. And in terms of length, I think the only main difference is the Yemsd is a little bit shorter, as you can see with the Sperax. And now we're gonna go through the different functions. So they all have different remotes. That one just stopped because I had it paused. So the Freepi, one thing, and this is the only difference between all of them, is it comes with these different pins here, so you can actually set it up to be an incline. And so I don't have those in right now. Basically, I'd unscrew those and then set these up and actually put it at an incline. Now, one huge thing I recommend if you are on carpet like I am, all of these have these moving furniture sliders underneath so that I can move them around easily. So I'll even show you. So like this one, I can literally just push it, slide it around very easily. And I even just slid it through like the hallway because our whole place is carpeted. So it's a super nice feature, nice thing to do, helps it out. So when I move these and put my chair back there, makes it a lot easier. So let's go ahead and start the Freepi one. One thing I will say as well is we have a cat and he already chewed through this because it's like a silicone material. But let's go ahead and get this started. So it starts at 0.6, and each time you hit this, the speed goes up by 0.2, which is the same for these two. And then the Yemsd is the only one that goes up by 0.1. So when I first got this, the belt was a little bit deviated to the right, so I had to adjust it. So I'm going to show you how to do that after. And it's going to be the same for all of them on changing the belt. So it's an important thing to know. The cord for this one is like 3 to 4 feet. I think they're all about 3 to 4 feet. And the Yemsd, I think, is the longest cord. Here's our cat O'Malley. So the nice thing about this one and the remote here is you actually have a pause button, which is only, I think it's the only one that does have a pause button, but I'll be looking at the other remotes. So that's a cool feature, so you can pause it and then resume. You just hit play to resume. So it continues with your workout and it'll continue with the speed, the time, and the distance and the calories. That's what it rotates through. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn this one off. 3. There we go. Okay, and then, so I've been using this one a lot at my desk. The power switch is on the side for this one, and then on these two, or the rest of them, it's on the front part. And now we're gonna go ahead and move to the Urevo one. Actually, first I'm gonna show you how to realign. So this is important. And this is something that I had to do on the first day that I had this and I set it up. So in the manual, the very last page, it tells you which side and depending on which way it's deviated, which way to turn. So there's little screws in the middle that you're gonna go ahead and rotate, and like it shows, if it's deviating to the left, the top is what you're gonna do. If it's deviating to the right, the bottom is what you're gonna do. So I had to do that because it was deviated to the right. So on this spot right here, you would just go ahead and use this tool, which it provides, all of them provide it, and you just rotate it. And it's recommended to just do a half turn or a quarter turn at a time, and then start it up and then see if it fixes itself and gets back to a middle position. So that is that one, and we're going to show the Urevo. So here's the remote for the Urevo, and you can go ahead and start it. And you can already tell as well for this one is it's quite a bit louder. So that's another feature, another thing to know. I would recommend as well for when you're walking and you're working to keep it on a lower speed. So I usually keep it between 1 and 2, just because I'm trying to like type and do all this stuff while I'm walking. So keep it on a lower speed. This one rotates through the steps. So that's a cool feature, adds the steps, calories, speed, and then the time. And now this one actually does pause. So let's see, it should say pause. Yeah, so then I can just hit to go again. Because after a couple minutes though, it will turn off. So if you pause it and then you go do something for a couple minutes and you come back, it will just turn off automatically. So that's something to keep in mind as well for this one. So let's go ahead. And then the mode just changes what it rotates. So like if you want to keep it on step, you can hit mode. If you want to keep it on calories, whatever you want to keep it on, you can go back to the one that rotates as well. Let's go ahead and pause that now. And now let's go to the Sperax. And another thing, they all come with the oil to go ahead and oil them up. So basically what you would do is you would lift up the pad and get the oil to the middle. I will say the one for the Freepi has this little extension thing, so it can actually get further in, make it a little bit easier. So that's a nice thing about it. This is the one for the Urevo, and then the one for the Sperax is right there, right by our cat. So that's something that you'll have to take care of and keep up to date on. Now something funny that I noticed is the Sperax remote actually, it actually turns on both the Yemsd and the Sperax. So let's see. See that? So it started both of them. Yemsd started at 0.8. All right, there we go. I turned this one on and then that one turned off. Perfect. Okay, so this one starts at 0.6. This one also goes up by 0.2 each time. This one is a little bit louder as well. I will say out of all of them, the quietest one is the Yemsd and the Freepi. And then this one has the mode button as well. So if you want to keep it on a certain mode, you can do that. It's actually changing it for the Yemsd one too. Look at that. Which you can set like a time. And so that's what that's doing. Now I'm going to go ahead, turn this off. Now turn on the other one. The Yemsd. I'm going to show you the remote, what it looks like for that one. So the thing about the Sperax and the Yemsd is there's no pause button. So let's go ahead. Okay, so I guess the Yemsd also works for the Sperax as well. So let's go ahead, get on here. Now let's turn that one off. Okay, so the Yemsd starts at 0.8. The nice thing about this one is that it starts, or it goes up by 0.1. I will say for the Yemsd one though, is a little bit shorter, so you have to just be a little bit more cautious of that and be like paying attention to where you're stepping. This one feels a little bit slower than the other ones as well. Like this 2.4 feels about the same as the 1.6, 1.8 on the other ones. So I usually go up to 2.8 on this one. Had this one for, I think, the past 6 months. So I've had this one the longest and have used it the most for sure. I've definitely put in a lot of steps on this, so it's held up well. I've only oiled it up twice since I got it. And yeah, so between all of them, I will say that my favorite one is between the Yemsd and the Freepi one. I like the Freepi because it's longer. It's definitely the quietest, and I also love being able to pause it. So I will say, if I had to rank these, I'm gonna go with Freepi as number 1, then Yemsd, and then the Urevo, and then the Sperax. And I think they're all great options though. They all have different functions and great capabilities. Biggest thing, like I mentioned before, this is like the biggest tip and the most helpful tip, is to get these furniture sliders. You can see I have them on all of them, and it literally makes my life so much easier moving them around and like just not having to lift them up. They all have wheels as well, but since my whole place is carpet, the wheels aren't going to really do anything. But yeah, they're all great options.